Have you ever thought about inviting Adam Sandler to the Charles Schwab?
If you can give me his phone number, I'll call him. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Love to.
Let me see what I could do. That could be so much fun having him tee off in the pro-am on number one with the hockey stick, or else doing it with the running jump. That would be cool.
I'm
So
surprised somebody hasn't done that. That's a good thought.
So now, please welcome the official, non-official, non-sponsor of the Savannah Bananas, but a big fan. Please welcome John Fletcher.
well, thank you, my friend Jesse Cole, owner of the Savannah Bananas, and welcome to this edition of 15 on Fridays with Fletch. Today's guest advanced from overseeing junior golf to the Canadian Amateur Tour to run the Asian Pro Tour, and for the past 14 years, he's been the tournament director at Colonial Country Club, home of the one of the elite golf tournaments on the planet with the Charles Schwab Challenge. Sponsors over the years have included MasterCard, Bank of America, and Crown Plaza. Charles Schwab started 7 years ago. And talk about a lesson in crisis management. They lost their title sponsor in 2018, and he led the charge to bring together American Airlines, AT&T, BNSF, XTO Energy for the Fort Worth Invitational. This tournament is known for one of the most hospitality-driven tournaments on the tour, with a legendary car giveaway, always a restored 1973 model of something. We may find out some details. The dates are going to be May 27th through 31st. And the big news is for our door prizes. Michael would love to give away to a viewer a position in the Pro-Am on Wednesday to play with the defending champion. He would love to do it, but he can't. Anyway, please welcome the 14-time tournament director of the PGA Tour at Colonial, now the Charles Schwab Challenge, Michael Tothe. Michael, how are you doing?
John, I'm great. Fletch, I'm great. How are you?
Man, it's a good day. It's a great day to be on the golf course. Are you getting to play any now at all? Or are you having to just be doing all your administration?
I have a 15-year-old daughter that's a freshman at Mansfield High. I have a 13-year-old son. My golf days are few and far between. I probably play 10 times a year. And if you asked me the last time I played, I'd really have to rack my brain. But come June, we'll get out. We'll get out a little bit in June and July, but I don't play that much.
Yeah. Well, so tell us about the journey from leading junior golf to one of the elite stops on the PGA Pro Tour with the Charles Schwab at Colonial.
So I was born and raised in Toronto, Canada. Grew up playing hockey, but I wasn't very big, strong, or fast. But I was a goalie, and then I just got the golf bug. My dad was in the golf industry, and I just, hockey player turned golfer. Played college golf at Shorter College in Rome, Georgia. Played an old tree line golf course every day. And then I graduated in 1995 and went to work for Stephen Hamblin, and at the time Chris Hack, who was the Georgia men's Georgia coach, just retired. And I worked for the American Junior Golf Association for 5 6 years. And then I moved back to Canada, worked for Golf Canada, ran all the amateur events for Golf Canada. It was, the Canadian Amateur, Canadian Senior, Canadian Junior, part of the Canadian Open, Women's Canadian Open. And then a guy that was the director of golf at the Whistler Golf Club, we hosted an event there. He worked for IMG in Singapore, and he called me, and it was December of 2022, snow starting to fall in Canada. My wife, who's an American from Texas, she's like, "Are we moving to Singapore?" And so we moved to Singapore, sight unseen, and helped with golf course management, golf course design. We brought over IMG clients at the time, and then my wife Holly really was. It was an interesting story because she was a high school state champion in golf. Went to USC for 2 years, Texas for 2 years. She started the women's golf team at UTSA. So we left Singapore, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And then Colonial came calling in 2008, and I started as director of sales. And now I've become tournament director since 2012. And I mean, you kind of talked about sponsors and things. I mean, we're 80 years young at the same venue. We're celebrating our 80th anniversary this year, and we've survived floods, fires, shortened holes, no title sponsor, and we're in a good spot with Charles Schwab. So It's been a fun ride.
The obvious question has to be, were you the inspiration for Happy Gilmore, going from hockey to golf?
Um, yeah, maybe, probably, could have been. Adam Sandler might have called me. Sure. No, I mean, listen, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to play some golf with some of the best hockey players I've ever played the game, and they don't want to talk hockey; they want to talk golf. So it's a nice connection. If you can give me his phone number, I'll call him. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Love to.
Let me see what I could do. That could be so much fun having him tee off in the pro-am on number one with the hockey stick, or else doing it with the running jump. That would be cool.
I'm
So
surprised somebody hasn't done that. That's a good thought.
that's that's why I'm the Fletch.
There you
So
go.
so tell her, what are the three or four most unique aspects that make Colonial and the Charles Schwab so popular with the pros? You've got some people like, Ricky Fowler, who is really on a roll right now, won't miss this tournament. And so, what is it about this tournament that brings them here that's different from the others?
I think there's a number of factors. I think the Hogan mystique, we have a huge statue of Mr. Hogan, a bronze statue that's front and center that so anybody that comes to Colonial, they see it. He won 5 times. And I think when you play the golf course and you think of, historic and iconic venues, it's Colonial. And I think it's not a bomber's paradise. You have to think your way through it. You have to be creative. The Wall of Champions is incredible. And the list of champions on our wall is second to none. We've hosted the men's open in 41, the women's open in 91 when they were building Sawgrass. We hosted the Players Championship in 75. Al Geiberger won. And I think it's a member owned and operated event that has a lot to do with it too. I mean, Kevin Kisner, he's been very vocal that, there's no event like Colonial that's hosted by members, run by members, and he loves that. So I think those factors, being close to downtown and in a safe community, safe environment, easy to get in and out of, that's important. But I think, really when guys get here, whether it's Fowler, Speith, Ben Griffin, the 132 players, we want to make it easy for them our week. We don't ask an awful lot of them. We treat them with Southern hospitality. So I think we're pretty proud of what we do here for the guys, the families, the support team that all the players have. But I think, if you kind of nail it to a couple things, I think the golf course, 80 years at the same venue, longest running event on tour. Nobody else can say that. And, Mr. Hogan in the background.
Well, so tell us about the Birdies for Charity. I just love that. So, how many nonprofits and how much did you raise this last year, and how much do you plan on this year?
So we started in 2025, and it was a way for us to help support Tarrant County charities that are all children's focused in some way, shape, or form. And Fletch, it's grown from $250,000 of generated dollars to, somewhere between 18 and 20 million on an annual basis. And so those 33 charities, they go out and they seek pledges, capital campaign, fundraising, private donors, and then we have a match fund. So if there's a donation that's made to a charity during a certain window around our golf tournament, we'll match it. And there's charities that are clamoring to get into this, and it's kind of the who's who of Tarrant County charities. We recognize that the match fund goes a long way, but it's really been. It started in 2005 under the leadership of a tournament chairman at the time, and it's recognized as one of the top generating charities on the PGA Tour, and we're really proud of that. And I suspect we'll be in the 18 to $20 million range again this year.
I was impressed. I believe it was last year when the little girl got to walk inside the ropes during the pro-am with Scottie Scheffler. She was a recipient from A Wish with Wings. And that, I mean, that's just special. I mean, that's putting the dotting the I, to make it really special and to put activation into your nonprofits.
Yeah, it's interesting. Wish with Wings. We would all, I would always joke with the team over there, like, gosh, are we ever going to get a golf wish? And then, sure enough, a young lady, Charlotte from Houston, story is very well documented on her medical and her journey, and she was like, I want to meet Scottie. And so, we put the ball in motion, the plan in play, and Scottie was fully on board and really embraced it. And he wanted to be as organic as possible, right? Like not a lot of camera, not a lot of fanfare, just kind of fly under the radar. And I really applaud him for that. Now he's got 2 kids, and so he understood the importance of it, and it was really fun to have that all come together. And we haven't had another golf wish, but Scottie was super, and Charlotte got her dream to come true.
Absolutely. Well, and speaking of the foundation, what a great hire that y'all hired our friend Brian Estridge to run the foundation. What a great guy, and I'm sure that takes a little bit of pressure off you and shares some of the responsibilities with him.
Yeah, when in this day and age of philanthropy and charitable giving, our focus is, conducting a world-class championship for the best 132 golfers in the country, and 500 sponsors, and Monday, Wednesday pro-am, and sponsor value, and hospitality, and group hospitality, and tickets, and fan engagement and excitement. We felt like the one piece that was missing a little bit was having somebody 365 days focused on charity. And the board, went through a grueling process of aligning themselves with the right executive director, and Brian's name came up a bunch. And I think the charity, Fort Worth Colonial Charities Inc., made a good decision. And Brian, he's been fantastic. We work a lot together, and um, it's been it's been it's been a nice enhancement, not only for the tournament but for the club, for the charity, and all things associated.
Well, and of course, you're known for the car giveaway. You've done a Corvette Stingray, a Bronco, a Challenger. Share with us what's going to be the champion's prize restored vehicle this year.
Well, it's always tied to a corporate milestone with Schwab. So we started in 2019 when they became titled, and it's always been car, truck, car, truck. Well, we're going back to back. We're going back to back. It was a Land Rover Discovery last year, Defender, and this year it's a 1982 Jeep Scrambler, and it was restored and found kind of down near like Green and Fredericksburg, Texas. And 1982 is important in Schwab's corporate identity, as they were, and a lot of these times I always like to say they were the first, but in truly they were the first financial services company to provide 24/7 access to your account. So if you had a Charles Schwab account in 1981, you were limited with everybody else from, call it, 9 to 5. Well, in 1982, Schwab said, heck with that. We want to give everybody access 24/7. So they created a platform by which, your $10 million you have in your account, John, in 1982, you could call and have access to your account in the markets 24/7. And so we're leaning into that with the Jeep Scrambler, and there's more of a story there. But what's also underlying, and not a lot of people know this, and I have not talked about it, but it's fact, is Ben Griffin's car, his Defender, was damaged in a fire.
Ooh.
And we were transporting it from Texas to Florida, and the trailer that it was in was beside another trailer, and that trailer caught on fire. So Ben and Dana have been incredible through the whole process. Schwab has managed it, but it was damaged a lot in the fire, and so we're going to represent the Defender to Ben tournament week. So we're going to, in essence, have two cars on property. So,
so then you have restored the vehicle. It's been
we have restored the Defender. That's right. So we have before and after photos, and before and after and before and after photos now again.
That makes for a fun news story.
Sure.
You've got some players who are on a pro. Brant Snedeker won in early May, and Ricky Fowler is playing lights out golf. Tell us about them.
Well, it's interesting. Jimmy Johnson, who is Sned's agent, called me a month ago and said, "Gosh, he's close, and he's going to need some help." And I said, "Well, let's just stay in touch. He's on our radar." And sure enough, wins, and now he's in. And so Brent Snedeker is at age 45, a tour winner again. Ricky Fowler loves it here. Ben Griffin's coming back. Emiliano Grillo, a champion of ours. Davis Riley. We just had Wyndham Clark commit to the field. Hideki Matsuyama just committed to the field. So guys are starting to think about Colonial. It's interesting. It's changed a little bit, John. Guys are committing later and later, and it's fine. So think, guys like Speith and Scheffler, we're waiting on those guys, but guys just commit later and later, and I think it's fine. It's the body of work in the field more so than one individual player. Tiger still moves the needle, of course, and would move the needle, of course. But it's the body of work more now than ever. And we're proud of our body of work, and our field will always, our field's always been great. We're fortunate. We're in the Metroplex. Colonial speaks for itself. The calendar date's okay. It's heavy on the signature and majors all around us. But guys, the question earlier, guys want to play Colonial, and we treat them like it's just, come work and get out of here and have a good week.
I noticed that we have a lot of Danish players, 4 Danish players this year. Is this part of a deal with Denmark for us to take over Greenland, and you've got a golf negotiation going on?
I thought you said we weren't going to get political on this call. No, no. It's interesting. Although not from Denmark, Ludwig Åberg has not played here before. We've Robert McIntyre, and another. So we've got some Ryder Cup guys in the mix. We've got some Danes in the mix. We've got an Englishman. We've got there's always an Irish contingent. Australia, South African. We got a few Canucks in the field, so it's a nice mix. Now a Japanese player with Hideki. So South Korean, there's a big South Korean contingent here in DFW, and so our field is pretty international, and I'm really proud of that.
Well, now, just as the Waste Management Tournament has that stadium par 3, Colonial has Rowdy number 13. Are there any new twists there or anywhere else?
There are some twists. This is our 80th anniversary, as we talked about. And when I found out that Burger Institution in Tarrant County in North Texas, Kincaid's, was celebrating their 80th, we went right to Jonathan Gentry, owner of Kincaid's, he and his brother. And we said, "Hey, do you want to be a part of Colonial?" And they're like, "Heck yeah." So we will offer Kincaid's hamburgers in the villages. We'll offer, Kincaid's burgers will be sold at hole 13. And then on Saturday, we'll do them in the suites. And so we're leaning into Kincaid's. So at 13, if you want a Kincaid's burger, head that way. And that's kind of the twist and turn out there. It's interesting with the the landscape again changing from the perspective of, we renovated the golf course with Gil Hance a couple years ago. 13's become a little different, 16's become a little different, 17's become a little different. And we're starting to migrate a lot of our hospitality to 16 and 17. It's closer. And so what we've felt like in the next few years is that 13 could be really just for the general spectator again, right? We're allowing fans to get behind 13 green for the first time in forever. And so I'm curious to see how that all plays out. But 13's always a front and center for a destination when fans come to see Colonial.
How do people still buy tickets either in advance or at the last minute?
Well, it's really easy. You just go to charlesschwabchallenge.com or go to Google and just type in Charles Schwab Challenge, and you can buy, in this day and age, quite frankly, you can get in your Uber, you can buy a ticket, and it's in your phone in 2 minutes. So, the day and age of handing out tickets and buying tickets in advance, it's made the purchasing habits of our fan a little shorter, which is fine. But you can go online, charlesschwabchallenge.com, and buy a daily grounds ticket for Wednesday and Sunday at $50. Thursday, Friday, Saturday is $85. If you wanted some upgraded tickets, our village ticket, which gives you access on course to 3 different on course venues, and then our pool, that's available. And then there's a couple in clubhouse hospitality options too, but really easy. It's a Ticketmaster platform. If you're familiar with Ticketmaster and concerts and Dallas Stars, Rangers, TCU, Dickies Arena, it's all the same.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody in Fort Worth looks forward to the Charles Schwab Challenge at Colonial, one of the marquee events for our community. Thank you again for joining us for 15 on Fridays with Fletch. We'll see you again next year.
John, appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. Come see us. Text me when you get on site.